Judges Corner is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and gatheringmagic.com. Support our show by visiting both websites. Now it's time for Judges Corner with David Green.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Judges Corner. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the introduction to the IPG, which stands for the Infraction Procedure Guide. It's a document that we use at competitive and professional level events to help cover when infractions are committed, such as looking at extra cards or cheating, and how to penalize them appropriately. It's important to note that this document is not used at regular level events, such as game days, pre-releases, or FNMs. For those kind of events, we use a different document called the JAR. You can learn more about that in an episode we covered by clicking the link right here. So it's good to know that this document is updated regularly and pretty frequently. You can check out updates by taking a look at the Wizards document pages or by clicking any links that we have in the description. And it's good to keep yourself up to date with it. If there's any updates, we're going to release supplemental videos to help keep you guys up to date with these particular documents. It's also important to note that this document is really dense and it goes hand in hand with the Magic tournament rules. So we're going to try to summarize it as best as we can while trying to stay as exact to the document as possible as well. So this will be a bit of a multi-part series that we release. So let's get things going by taking a look at the different types of infractions that the guidelines cover. The three types of infractions are gameplay errors, tournament errors, and unsporting conduct errors, which are abbreviated accordingly. So those are broken down into a couple subclasses for each one of their particular infractions, but we'll cover that in a future episode. So the next question you might have is, when should a judge intervene when one of these occur? So a judge should intervene when they believe a rules violation has occurred, such as a player not understanding how maybe protection works. A judge should also intervene when someone requests assistance, such as someone raising their hand and yelling, "Judge!" Or a judge should intervene when they want to keep something from escalating, such as they hear an insulting word stated and they want to stop before the players start fighting because of it. So when a player commits an infraction, we don't try to stop it from occurring, we just penalize it and move on from there. This is to promote a fair and sporting environment. The next thing is we hold players to the standard of the event and not their own personal skill level when we're issuing certain infractions or penalties. For example, if a new player and a pro player are playing against each other, we're going to issue a ruling based off of the event that they're in and not their own personal skill level. And then finally, the reason why we issue certain penalties is to discourage it from occurring in the environment that they're playing in, and in order to educate players as to why that type of behavior is inappropriate for the event. So next, let's take a look at the reasons why we give these certain types of penalties that we give. So the reason that we give certain penalties is based off of the potential for abuse of certain infractions, or the risk of those infractions never being exposed. We also give them based off of repeated offenses of infractions throughout the tournament. And then finally, we give them based off of the disruption that those infractions cause to the tournament and others. So occasionally a head judge can deviate from the IPG, but it's important to note that only the head judge should make these deviations, and they should only be made on when a case is very rare or exceptional. Things that constitute rare or exceptional would be like if a light fixture falls on top of your match, or the event floods. Things like you spilt a drink on all of your cards or even your opponent's cards are not that rare and exceptional and shouldn't be deviated from the IPG too much. The next thing we want to talk about is that we don't want to discourage players from calling judge, even if they have to call judge on themselves. The way we go about doing this is that if the player calls a judge on themselves before they have a chance to gain an advantage from an infraction, we try to downgrade the penalty based off of the head judge's discretion. So sometimes you won't get it downgraded, but most of the time you will. And then we use this to encourage players to call judge in order to not look like bad guys and not make you want to be discouraged from calling a judge over. The last thing I want to talk about is that judges make mistakes. Occasionally we give a wrong ruling, sometimes we hear the information incorrectly, but it's important that when we do, that we as judges correct ourselves, even if it's too late. And if we can, we try to correct it before it's too late. And that when mistakes happen, we just need to own up to them and apologize and see what we can do to fix the situation. So this concludes our episode on the introduction to the IPG. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below, but you probably should send us an email for those type of questions at judgescorner@gatheringmagic.com. And until next time, make sure to shuffle thoroughly, play at a reasonable pace, and have fun.